Hello, everyone. Let's see, are we coming in? Yep, we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. See a couple people in chat already. Uh, just want to say hi here and get you guys started. As always, I'm joined by my buddy Largo, and
Hey,
today we have a very special guest, Mr. Ken Poe from Toy Connections. Hi, Ken. How are you?
I love the shirt you're wearing, and
Oh,
I love the shirt that Jim will one day be wearing. How about that?
nice.
I jokingly said last night because I wore it also on Chad Street. I said I haven't taken it off since Joe Fest, but
I heard that.
I have and I have washed it. So yeah, we're a little bit early because we were waiting for Grind Ted. He didn't have a show today, and I saw you guys in chat, so I just figured let's pop in and just say hi to everyone. We've got Bjorn, of course, with his Schmajulak. Um, Jim Largo from Largo's Lair greeting us. That's
Hey.
very nice. And we've got Epic Badger saying howdy, howdy, howdy. Yep, there were a lot of other lines at Joe Fest, both 118 and 112. It was like a toy fair. Yeah, there's Joe Fest is what brought us there, but Hasbro was completely absent and not missed at all because there are so many other vendors and toy lines and companies and startups that yeah, we don't really need them. Yeah, saying not 118, but Monster Force killed it with their lineup. Yeah, that stuff looks great.
Yes.
There is a 1/18th version of Monster Force as part of the Eagle Force lineup, so they'll be doing parallels.
They're doing some crossovers, and you'll see them in there, and they're pretty cool. Yep, Ian Sweeney saying welcome back from Joe Fest, weary travelers. Yep. And hey, look, I'm even in there. I said hi.
Sweet.
Two places at once.
Go ahead, Ken.
No, you're in two places at once. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, and Bill from Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. Hi, Bill. How are you? It's good to see you. And I think that's it. I think that's all we got for now. Oh, no, we got Pericles. How's it going, buddy? How are you? And yeah, so today we're talking about the O-Ring Renaissance, trademark Genpo Incorporated.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and that is that, Joe Fest really shined a light on this. I've attended Joe Fest for the last 3 years. So, in 2021, I saw a couple lines popping up. 2022, some more updates on them. And this year, we saw there was probably, I think we've got like 5 different O-Ring inspired lines, coming out in the next year or two. So, what I figured we'd do today is maybe just have a brief discussion about what it is about them that we like, and just highlight some of the new offerings that we have. I will say that if you guys have a chance, if you're interested in the O-Ring lines, Ryan over from Island of Misfit Toy Collectors did a really nice video talking about the very same subject we're talking about tonight. He released that over the weekend, and he has some really good thoughts and stuff on that. And I encourage you to go check it out. I did put a link in the description of this video to that and to all of the manufacturers that are making these new O-Ring lines. So you can check out their site, and in some cases even get the figures yourself if you like them. So Ian Sweeney saying, O-Ring never left. It was just hiding really well. True. Is there any better feeling than replacing O-Ring on a figure and watching it move again? A lot of people get stressed out by replacing O-rings, but I find it very therapeutic. When you get the method down right and you do it perfect, and yeah, seeing your figures come back to life is a great feeling. So
yeah, and that's the thing. There have been many other 1/18th-ish scales in recent years, be it Spin Master or even the anniversary stuff that came out with Hasbro when they did the 4-inch type line, and then Marauder and Fresh Monkey Fish have followed in that. But it's not O-Ring. It's not the same feel. It's not the same design. And,
even Haya Toys is doing awesome stuff, and I love that stuff. I'm a sucker for anything 1/18th scale. You guys all know that. Ken, how do you feel about the O-Ring Renaissance trademark Genpo Incorporated?
Well, I'm glad that the term is starting to catch fire a little bit. And Marco Byrne from Skeletron used those words last at Joe Fest to sort of describe what we're going through. And I'm like, yes, the hashtag has caught fire. I love it. As
Yeah.
for how I feel about the whole thing, one of the things that I was saying to John over at the Callsign Longbow there was that, fans of the original GI Joe remember just the big ensemble cast of characters. They just remember an endless amount of characters, and you could just never get them all. And between all the lines that are out, not just Delta 17 and Callsign Longbow, but Operation Recall, the few O-ring figures Skeletron's going to do, because I know they're doing
Yep.
multiple scales. Strike
Mhm.
Force Alpha, Legends of the Hidden Force. I think In the Navy is on Kickstarter right now.
That's one that I didn't include in this, but I was going to mention. So thank you for mentioning that.
No, yeah, no problem whatsoever. And I believe Riot versus Eagle Force is also another one that has a few figures out. But like, it's one of those things that people are going to form their own headcanon anyway, right? They're going to want a few figures here, a few figures there, and they're going to have their fan maker shelf, or they're just going to use them as augmentation to their current cast of O-ring GI Joe stuff. That's
True.
so the rising tide will float all boats.
That's great. Yeah. So just clearly, all of this stems from GI Joe. I understand that it wasn't the only O-ring figure line, or the first one at that, but it was definitely the most popular. If you're talking O-ring, GI Joe dominated that figure construction. I guess.
Right. They weren't the first, but they were definitely the most successful. Because
Yeah,
I remember one of the first O-ring figures I ever had was actually from the Black Hole, the Disney movie
Yep.
they did,
Yep.
and those were and before that there were some Mego figures that had that O-ring technology, and of course
the chips figures, right?
right,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
all that came from what they had seen in the Japanese market, where they had seen that similar technology.
Yeah,
there.
that was really the Micronauts, or they were called something else in Japan, right? But they were like brought over.
There was
Micro
right,
Man.
it was Micro Man, but
it might have been Takara Microman.
mhm.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I'm
think that
thinking.
was
Yeah.
kind of where it started. Yeah, but there's always been alternatives to that O-ring style construction. Even at the height of GI Joe, you had He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Superpowers, Transformers. You had all these other different types of action figures existing at the same time. Star Wars is another 3 3/4 inch line, and they went with a 5 POA kind of, harder or softer kind of, you know, crammed together figures that didn't have any, parts. So it was unique, but it wasn't, they weren't the only person there. Let's see here. We've got a couple people showed up. I just wanted to. Steve, Delta painted prototypes will be arriving from the factory any minute now. Oh, Steve, how are you? I didn't
Nice.
know it
Oh,
was
good.
you were
I-
the Steve, the Delta 17 Steve. Jeez, we're not
Yeah.
worthy. Well, thank you for coming in and talking. That's awesome. That is
He's
awesome.
on the road right now. He went to go do an errand, and he's trying to race back before the delivery truck arrives. I wasn't sure I was allowed to say anything, but yes, I do know that it's arriving today, and he wants to have a look at what they look like on card and everything. So yeah.
We're
Yeah.
definitely excited to see Delta 17 and where that's going to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say spoiler alert. I'm going through a bunch of these, but I'm gonna, gush over the Delta 17 stuff at the end of the slideshow. So, O-ring style
Yeah.
action figures have been replaced for many years now with modern construction figures, and it seems like the world has moved on to a larger scale. Major.
Let me point out here real
Yeah.
quick. The Henshin Cyborg World Made of Cardboard is absolutely correct. That's one of the Japanese lines where we saw.
You know what? Thank you. I should have known that one.
Yeah.
I totally should have known that one.
I'd forgotten that, but that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Buried in the
So-
memory banks of. Anyway, carry on.
So yeah, guys, with major toy companies focusing on other scales and constructions, we've seen many amazing creators now rise to the occasion to fill that void. Over the last, several years, these people come in, but why? Why? What is it about the O-ring figures that has inspired these amazing creators to come up with new toy lines based on that style of construction? And why do we as fans embrace it? All of these Kickstarters fund it. every one of them is highly anticipated and will definitely sell out. So, I'm just curious, is it the scale? Jim, I know this is not really your scale, but, is there something about the O-rings that appeals to you?
There is. I mean, I have a smattering of different scales here that I dabble in. Recently, I've gone back to old school 1/6 scale just out of nostalgia and for fun. But when I look at, whether it be classified or Action Force or even some of the anniversary figures like the Steel Brigade from Rise of Cobra, I like the construction and I like the design, but it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have that same tactile feel as an O-ring. I have a Lady J here, thanks to Epic Badger passing that on to me. I like the construction. I like the way they feel. I like the way they play. And there's just something about the O-ring that's just different. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is, but I like it.
Yeah, and we got a comment here from Ryan Sweeney, who I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream. Ryan,
Hey, Ryan.
I want to say I really enjoyed the video you did on this very subject, and you have some really great points and things that you pointed out there. Guys, there is a link to that video in the video description right here, so please go check it out. If you love the O-ring figures, you're going to love that video. Very nice to see you, sir. And Jeff is here. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, Jeff.
And World Made a Cardboard pushing for cardboard figures. Of course you are. And if you did get a chance to meet him at Joe Fest, he brought some prototypes of actual cardboard figures that he is going to check out. I apologize to all of you. I don't think I have any admins on this channel, or else I would ask Bjorn to post links to some of these. But if you go check out A World Made of Cardboard and some of his cardboard creations, you're going to absolutely love them. Bjorn mentioning he was happy to see a tiger-themed O-ring figure. And, Johnny following up there with, and Epic Badger, who, despite the popular opinion, his scale is much smaller than 1/18. So, thanks, man. Appreciate you. So, Ken, going to the question, of all the questions on the screen right now, why? What is it about these O-rings that appeals to you, sir?
Because when you went to the toy store as a kid and saw G.I. Joe Real American Hero, it just stuck with you like a virus and it never left your system. So, that's, to me, it's the bias of that memory, and then being able to join the tide of collectors and just everyone. I think anyone who grew up in that era just understands the magic of not just that scale, but that amount of articulation. Because if you grew up with Star Wars figures, they were 5 POA. Yes. If you grew up with wrestling figures, they could barely pose. Transformers figures, their articulation points were only wherever they could transform.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was more articulated and had more play value than an O-ring figure, especially when you added the swivel elbow?
Yeah.
Yes. Ken, you nailed it completely, because, when I ask these questions, the scale, yes. Nostalgia, yes. Is it an aesthetic choice? Yeah, I like them. The potential for world building, yes. Is it the settings and lore? Yes, absolutely. I love all of those things. But that's the thing. For me, I would always put toy lines away and take new ones out and play with them for a while. But I would always go back to my Joes. Those were the ones that always got the most, playtime. He-Man would come out and I'd play with it for a while, and those trends would come and go. But I would always go back to it. But it had the complete thing. It had the articulation. It had the vehicles and play sets that the figures actually integrated with very well. Some series didn't do that very well. They'd have a vehicle, but the figure didn't really fit in it or interact with it well. Or they'd have a play set and, you couldn't put the figure through the door. Just things like that would bother me as a kid. But yes, you could put the accessories in their hands. You could pose them, by today's standards, not as well. But, that's what I loved about them. And that's what I love about what's coming out.
Yeah, and A World Made of Cardboard is kind of in that same mindset. He's like, playability is most important for an action figure. He remembers 82, concerned they'd be floppy like Micronauts. Yeah, Micronauts were cool, but they did have some drawbacks, and they were a little fragile. GI Joe figures were much more durable.
Oh, and the dog agrees, I would
Yes.
say. Yep.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. New choices to augment classic nostalgia toy collections. Ian, you nailed it. That's really good. That's an excellent point. So let's discuss what it is about these O-ring figures that people like, and take a look at some of the O-ring goodness to come. Guys, I just put together some slides. There's links to all of these makers in the description below, so you can click on them and go to them. If there's something here that you haven't seen before and you want to check it out, click on one of those links and support these creators. So first up, we've got Callsign Longbow. This one I saw at Joe Fest back in 2021. It may have been, being made, way before that, but this is fully funded. It's coming out. You can go to their Kickstarter and check out a free digital comic with the story, and join their pre-orders. So I think you can pre-order some of these figures to this day. But yeah, Callsign Longbow is a retro style O-ring action figure line set in the closing years of the Cold War. This action-packed story takes place. It's top secret American covert operations battling the insidious forces of the Soviet Union. So yeah, if you like that 80s stuff, this really fits it. What do you think about the line, Jim?
It kind of reminds me of the original. What was that film? Red Dawn. Where you had teenagers coming up against the Ruskies and their allies, and it's like, it's very, very much nostalgic to that time period I grew up in. We grew up in the Cold War. We saw how that affected everything in our culture. So the time that it's set in it makes sense. I like the artwork. We'll just have to see what we get when the figures come out.
Yeah. Ken, are you a fan of Callsign Longbow?
Oh yeah, I definitely back the all-in package there. It was great to get to connect with Troy and John over at Joe Fest there. And what's likable about them is because it's set in the late part of the Cold War, it means it's the 1980s, which means that's when G.I. Joe was in its prime.
Yeah.
Right? And the one thing that I told John there at Joe Fest is that someone is going to look at their main Russian characters like Reznikov, their troop builder as well. They're going to look at Death Sparrow from Delta 17, and they're going to say, this is my new makeshift October Guard, along with their existing October Guard, or they're going to make them the enemies of the October Guard. So, people's play patterns have so much flexibility with this. But the sleeper hit of Callsign Longbow, to me, is, I believe it's called the Adapt Trooper. They had like this grayish white character with some highlights on it that was supposed to be I think
it was like a stretch goal. Yeah,
it was a stretch goal, and it's an O-ring version of an unreleased special weapons team that Bob Breakin was working on before Palatoy had to shut down his design division.
Oh, that's pretty deep. I didn't know that. Yeah,
because remember the four teams from Action Force were the Z Force, SAS, Q Force, and Space Force, and they never released the Special Weapons Force or Special Weapons team. And the character there were 5 characters: Boffin, Fixer, Lightning Sniper, and Bombardier. I think their Adapt Trooper is supposed to be Fixer.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
that's
they
really
now have that mold. It's a really deep cut, and I think on a Toy Kind of Mood, I talked about it. They asked what are you excited for, and I went into this huge spiel. And you can see Troy and John both just grinning. And the host looks at them and goes, "What are you talking about? So what's Ken talking about?" And they both look at each other. We have no idea what Ken's talking about. He's just tripping right now on a drug trip. And then suddenly they're like, "No, that's exactly what it is. It's an O-ring version of what would have been a 5 POA's unreleased special weapons."
Sure. I think some of these homage kind of characters that they insert into the lines, they have to kind of tiptoe, I guess, around, maybe, so they don't want to come out and say what they're doing. But if you know, kind of thing.
Well, it's like, we're big fans of Bob Breakin around here. So, I think Boffin in that prototype was kind of an homage to Bob back in the day. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
just catching up with chat here. Ian Sweeney, just back, it's a little bit ago, but play sets are a big thing for the 3 3/4 inch scale. As much as he loves 5 POA, having a character who can sit down properly really helps immersion. Yeah, it absolutely
knees
does.
and elbows definitely are an improvement. And that brings up something that Jeff Morris mentioned. Let me just put that in because I wanted to ask Ken about this. Love the 118th and the Joes, but the O-rings and all of his vintage, they all need to be replaced eventually. That's just the nature of O-ring. With these new O-ring figures, they need to be easy to replace. And, that's a good question. I don't know about the construction on a lot of these new designs. Are they going to have that center screw in the back like, classic Joe's did where you can easily replace the O-ring or not?
Yeah, Ken, do you have anything about that?
can you just repeat that because my reception cut out for about
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, just talking about the fact that every O-ring figure is basically a ticking time bomb. That O-ring is going to have to be replaced at some point. Have any of the new manufacturers taken concession? Any kind of thought into that, like making them easier to replace or making them out of a different material?
Okay, so this is something I found out while handling some of the test shots in the hotel that Steve was showing me, is that when you lay down a Delta 17 figure, and you just lay the back of the torso down and you put the head in and the arms, they actually clip in. So you don't have to hold them down with your fingers. Now, whether the next round of test shots will do the same, Steve will know in about an hour. But he was like, "Hey, do you notice something different?" And we were talking about this at the hotel. I'm like, "Well, the head just clips right in. I don't have to hold them while I change the O-ring."
You don't.
So
you
I
don't
don't
need
know
that
whether the
third hand. Yeah, usually it feels sometimes when you're doing an O-ring replacement, you need a third hand to hold it all together.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether the O-rings today, like the actual physical rubber material, is going to be more durable than they were in the past, right?
But it's definitely a good point.
But that's the easiest part. Like if the only thing that breaks on you is an O-ring, then you're probably doing well, right? And everyone is cognizant about making sure that the grade of ABS is strong enough on the waist so that they don't break. I know there's an option to go to the really, really durable palm plastic. I'm not sure if that's what you want for the waist because that will give it absolutely no give whatsoever. But you just have to design the thickness of it so that the ABS will not.
Yeah, they made. I know they made that little cod piece a little thicker on most of the new figures. I've heard.
That's correct.
Saying that. Yeah. So and then Ryan was just saying that he blames people like Bill Merkin, Larry Hama, Ron Rudott for creating the heroes I grew up with. Yeah, Bill's amazing in his sculpts. Ron is in his creations, and Larry in building depth of each character. Absolutely. If it wasn't for
we're going to see them.
If it wasn't for those guys, a lot of these things, no one's talking about the the total defense characters or the whatever they were, the Kmart versions, because they didn't have those deep stories or characters with them. There was some, and they were kind of shoddily put together. I mean, I love all that knockoff stuff, but those characters don't live on with us.
Right.
So, hey, Badger's just saying, don't forget to appease the algorithm and go and click that like button. So thank you very much. And I think that's it for. I think we're caught up here. I think let's see, we've got Transformers, Action Masters, have GI Joe size O-rings. I did not know that. The T Crouch is a different size from the GI Joe figures. I know this because you had to replace them. Interesting. So Callsign Longbow. I don't have all their the figures' names or anything like that, but I just wanted to show. I mean, it says it on some of these pictures, but just so you could see some of the style. So you got Scott Lancer McMasters. He's the Green Beret. Very typical kind of '80s looking guy there. You got Outlaw here. He's got a gas mask. They come with some really cool accessories. And I noticed that a lot of these newer lines are adding things like integration on the backpack, so the rifle could attach to it, or the machete, which were some of our favorite things about. I mean, I think that's what made Storm Shadow such a hit when he was when he first came out was that you could put everything in his backpack, right? Like that was like
Yeah.
the coolest part of it. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. So let's go through some of the figures here. I don't know if I have all of them, but this is mostly the Callsign Longbow team. Here's a Marauder Trooper. He was a crossover, I think, with the. He's a Desert Task Force figure, but I think he was a crossover with Marauder Gunrunners, so that's cool. I like
Yeah,
how
the
all these
collaboration
toy
with them.
lines. Yeah, they're all collaborating and doing some fun stuff together. So yeah, looks really cool. And then we've got some of our bad guys. We've got our, he's just come on, look at him. What's his name? Volk. He's got the
Reznikov
scar.
is, yeah,
Yeah,
you got it.
Reznikov. He's got the scar across his face. He's wearing the black. He looks evil. He just looks like a bad guy. It's great.
Bam.
The only miss I see with Callsign Longbow is we need Natasha and Boris Badenov, or at least something close like that. They must hunt the moose and squitter.
And these are just, these were these ones, the henchmen, the tracksuit henchmen. I think people are going to be picking these up, by the dozen just to have these guys. They come with a
Great troop builder.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and the Krasny ninja here, just awesome with those weapons. It's just amazing, just so 80s, so awesome. It hits it on all levels. Yeah. What do you think about these guys?
Oh. Wow.
I'm hearing a Russian boxer saying, "I will break you."
Definitely.
Look at the guy with the hammer. Yeah, the hammer and sickles there.
Definitely. Ryan saying
these will be fun.
Are the best figures. Yeah, they are great. You love a figure that could hold its accessories. Yeah, they did some really interesting engineering on that bottle to make sure that the figure could hold it. So just so you know, they will be able to throw that thing there. So yeah, then we had these. There's actually like a third faction too. There's something I love. That's an innovation that we're seeing in a lot of the new toy lines that come out. It's not just like good guys over here, bad guys over there. Even though G.I. Joe had like kind of sub factions, Destro was technically his own like thing there. But and the Dreadnoks were their own little sub team. But they've got these guys, the what are they? The Steel Web Infiltrators.
Yeah, they're like
cool.
a technological faction.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. I like them. And just so you know, you can go over to callsignlongbow.com. You can get issue 1 of their free digital comic right now. You can go check it out if you're interested in the story. It's an action-packed first issue. Then you could head over and you could pre-order some of the figures if you like. So yeah, that's Operation or Callsign Longbow. I'm really interested in them. I like them. I think they'll integrate very well with my existing Joe collection, and I can't wait to get my all-in package sent to me. Now this one, guys, Operation Recall is just absolutely historic project. Guys, if you love a real American hero, then this line should get you so excited. He's bringing back some of the top names and toys to make a new line and documenting the process. This line has some amazing characters, designs, and stories created by the community. It really is truly epic, guys. Not just for the toys, but for the whole process of going back. So, legendary creators back on duty. Carson Metaxas, he runs 3D Joe's. He's also made a really great book on G.I. Joe. This guy is an absolute G.I. Joe maniac in the best way possible.
Oh, yeah. His work on the whole 3D Joe's project was phenomenal.
Yeah. So we could just take a look real quick. If Ken, if you have any words about Operation Recall before we're just going to look through some of the character, concepts and stuff like that. But anything on it that you'd like to say?
Well, Carson is the best ambassador you could ask for to carry the torch for G.I. Joe and the right person to bring the legendary creators back. Dave E., who did some of the designs for this, he was at Joe Fest and he was quite active. He did Saul Guerrero, the wrestler. And we always look at it as if G.I. Joe Real American Hero had continued in 1995 and kept going because it amalgamates so many things together. Now, I've said that to Carson, and one of the things he's very quick to point out, though, is that the main people he has as far as designers are Ron Rudat and Mark Pennington, whose stuff ended around 19. I think Pennington left in 88, but his designs kept getting used till 89, maybe early part of 90. So he always quick to say that, well, it is kind of like if Mark Pennington had kept going on the design team in 1990, 1991, because they moved to a different designer. So while we look at it as what if a Real American Hero had continued from 94 onwards, Carson's always quick to point out it could also be a parallel line to the Ninja Force we saw and the Battle
Sure.
and the Eco Warriors that we saw. Like it could be that more so than it is, the 94 onwards line. So
Okay, cool,
yeah.
cool. Jim, what do you think about Operation Recall? I mean, I think it's just.
I'm excited to see where this is going to go, mostly because of who is involved. I mean, these guys are all legends. They have a passion for this, and like we've talked about, I'm more partial to the adventure team than before. But when GI Joe first came out as a Real American Hero, those first years were the best. They just had the best characters, the best storylines with the Marvel comics. That's what got people hooked. I wasn't crazy about the later stuff when they went off on all the different tangent teams and all the different funky neon colors and stuff. Just wasn't my thing. So this is more the flavor I like for that type of military adventure figure.
Yeah, and while the story here is more the process of doing this because they're using the old techniques. They're showing how they made them back when we were kids, and not really, that's the story. The characters are all themselves, but there's not really teams here. I think this is more going to be integrated into your existing collection. But yeah, some of these figures, you've got the Rotello and Homer. This is the one that Carson made when he was age 10. That's what started this whole thing. He drew it all up and he sent it into G.I. Joe. It got rejected, and then he waited another 30 years and then went ahead and did this. But he never gave up. But what I do like is there's several figures in this line that you're going to see that come with animal companions, which is something that G.I. Joe did very well. So we have Breacher and Falcon here. He's an urban intervention specialist in K9. And these are all submitted by the community and selected. Then you got just cadavers here, which is some mean looking, bad guy there, right?
Yeah. I am partial to the bad guys. I do like the baddies.
Damselfly, aerial assault trooper. This is really cool looking, really sick. Ken was mentioning Soul Eagle Guerrero, right?
Very cool.
Los Castagordes or whatever, I messed it up. But enemy executioners. That's the same guy that did the Dread Troopers that were the exclusive at Joe Fest. Guys, check it out. Yeah,
that's Grindhouse. Toys,
yeah, Grindhouse Toys. Okay. Yeah, I was there when they announced them at the panel.
Nice.
He was sitting there, and I was like, "Hey, that's you," because that's actually him in the picture. I think that's his loadout, his paintball and stuff. Yeah. So we've got the ninja character, which is awesome. It's like a cyborg ninja, I think, right? There's like a cyborg leg.
That's right.
Awesome. Right. Bear Claw, a survivalist. He looks cool. He's like a burly lumberjack man. Clanker and Tank. Now, what is Tank? I'm not seeing the picture here. I may have forgotten.
Oh, Isn't that the tortoise? Isn't that the tortoise character?
That's right. That's a big tortoise character. Yeah, so we get some genetically modified Galapagos tortoise. Yeah, that's right. Oh, hold on. GForce is helping me out. Castigadores. Yes, I could speak words. I know English. I'm sure I could say it flawlessly 1,000 times if I wasn't on the street. But yes. Epic Badger saying a tortoise. Yes, please. That's great. So, yeah. And then I think this is a repaint of the Rotello and Homer. You got the Great Whites, which is such a great concept for a enemy diver. The dive helmet kind of looks like a shark head. And these are enemy underwater troopers. Just fantastic. Such a good thing.
Imagine that Rotello and Homer is going to look good with your Night Force crew.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because that's the variant version of him.
And so you've got Run Back and Pack Dog, and it comes with a Robo Dog. Kind of cool. Bengal is a Indian sniper, counterintelligence. She's got that nice little tiger stripe pattern there, Bjorn. So you might like that.
Yep.
The Unknown, Enemy Jungle Troopers, Night Raid in Aussie. I mean, come on. That concept looks awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm a sucker for animal companions, and I love some of these team ups they're doing. Each one of these as a standalone figure is a cool concept, and put them all together into one team. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. And it just keeps going too, man. They've got a lot of figures coming out. I went all in on this one too. I think it was the first two waves. But you can go over to OperationRecall.com, and I think you could sign up and still pre-order some of these.
Well, there's going to be 18 or 19 characters, right? That's pretty amazing.
Yep.
That's a big way to start with a new line.
You've got Lilith, an Army paratrooper, Alpha Dog. He's the Navy construction mechanic. So, and then General Mortifred.
I think Dave E may have sketched this one up as well.
Yeah. It says David Emmanuel Martinez.
Yep, that's him. That's Dave E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is he the? I think I met him on Friday night. Right, we were hanging out in the lobby.
Actually, right when you met me, he was the guy who called my name when I walked into the lobby, and I was kind of giving him a hug, and then you came in right behind me with Adam and Matt. So he's awesome. And he was coming by with the rum and giving us shots and everything. So he's one of the reasons,
right?
He's one of the reasons for my Sunday hangover.
Okay, good. And he's the reason we're getting this awesome figure. So thanks, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Operation Recall, absolutely legendary. I mean, I hope they keep going because, once this process is over, I hope it doesn't just go back into kind of retirement. I'd love to see these guys keep working and making awesome things because I think they only picked their top concepts, but there was probably a thousand more that they could have gone with.
Oh, Carson's got a deep Rolodex of names he could pull from. So, even if it is, let's just say, because he pulled all the previous legendary creators, even if somebody retired after this, he'd have somebody else who worked on G.I. Joe at some point in time that could possibly help out and make more characters. Just knowing Carson.
Yeah. And
the amount of collaboration is really impressive to make this happen.
It's just saying that means Punisher, basically. When do we get a Tiger Companion? Great Whites. First they fight. First
they'll fight you, then they'll put on a concert in the 80s. Or there was a band called...
That's right.
Although, if you put lasers on them, you'd have laser sharks.
That's right.
I'm just saying.
And GForce just piling on here. And I guess asking Bjorn, a tiger with Dr. Pepper? Because we know those are two things he loves.
Indeed.
So, yep. And that is, Loons is a cheetah. Shut up and take my money. Definitely. I can't wait to see the card backs. Yeah. Definitely.
Hey, Mike.
This will be fun.
Yep. And the rest, we don't know what that is. So, Legends of the Hidden Force. I don't have every character here. It's pretty recent, and it's been covered recently. So, I'm pretty sure everyone knows. But they just got funded. They funded the last day of Joe Fest. And this goes in a completely different direction than, G.I. Joe. So, it's in a hidden mystical city beset by betrayers, conquerors, and terrors. 3 ninja factions vie for the fate of a power-enhancing flower. There's a ton of lore here, and the guys involved here also have a lot of stuff coming out in the future. They're going with different genres and stuff like that. So just a real quick look. And Chad mentioned this yesterday. A lot of these ninja characters might have been inspired by the unreleased wave of ninja Commandos that were supposed to come out from G.I. Joe. Just fantastic. I visited their booth. I put a little video out on that. If you guys can check them out. Ken, you know a lot more about this. You had the creator on your channel, I believe, right?
Yeah, Darren Howlett. Actually, it's
Yeah.
funny. He just texted me like right now to ask a question about something unrelated, and I talked to him earlier in the day just to do a kind of a post Joe Fest debrief. But yeah, it is about 3 different clan factions. The main character in the upper left there is um, he Shinobi. He's been exiled from the main Sabo clan after the death of his master. So it's about his sort of quest and journey and sense of belonging because he's kind of a young ninja, right? And then the character right below him is the main character of or the main villain there. Oh God, what does it say his name is?
Master. Oh, geez, I forget. But you know what? I have the website up here, so I can check.
Yeah, you know, you asked me a week ago, I would have remembered.
Yeah,
the name.
yeah.
Put me on the spot.
It is,
I can't remember.
Yeah, this definitely hits me in the nostalgia feels because I grew up late '70s. Everybody was kung fu fighting, and then
Mhm.
during the '80s, there was a ton of great ninja stuff. Lots of good, ninja movies,
Yeah.
and then you had the Mortal Kombat type of stuff, and
It's Master Obake, I think it's.
Oh, okay, yes. That was
Sorry.
it. Because Darren was saying the reason Obake's skin is so pale is because he's taken too much of the flour. He's taken too much of it. That's why his skin is so pale. Hopefully, I don't have my details wrong because until 30 seconds ago I completely forgot his name. But yeah, Darren has a long history of making toys, so the stuff will do well, I think.
Yeah, great designs, good colors in the costumes.
And everybody knows everyone, right? Like Darren's closest friends
Yeah.
are Troy and John from Callsign Longbow, right?
Yeah.
Like he's known them since the late '90s. So
Yeah, there's something about this that I think the community is pretty tight knit. And we have a lot in common, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Want this and like it. So really cool stuff. Like I said, I didn't go through every character, which I really wish we could, but for time, I knew I was kind of going to go long on some of those Operation Recall guys because they had so much. The next one was Strike Force Alpha. I originally saw this back in 2021 Joe Fest. They launched. I never got in on the Kickstarter on this one. I'm not sure how it ended or funded. The only thing I could find recently on this was that you could pre-order them on Big Bad Toy Store. But yeah, their whole thing is that in the year 2040, the world has changed for the worse. Chaos reigns supreme, and rage has spread across the planet. There is a steady push towards a unified world government as many small countries collapse under the strain of overpopulation and limited resources. Technological stagnation and rampant war has created a world under siege. To combat these threats, the Strike Force Alpha Team program was created. So pretty cool. This is like modern military mixed with some mutations and creations and a little more of the look at this guy, the Strike Force Alpha Infiltrator. He's kind of like a snake man. And you got these Skull Guard guys. Now, like I said, I think, is it LaCroix Toys is involved in this? He was one of the designers.
Matthew LaCroix from Scorched Earth Initiative and his partner Jason Schiermeyer are the two that are doing this. Just like Legends of the Hidden Force, they funded on the last day of their campaign, from what I recall, or at least the last weekend. They funded back in 2021, and they had to retool a few things, which is why they're slightly delayed. But they should see stuff later this year. Like they may be the first ones to come out of the gates.
Oh, okay.
Either them or the Robo Skull Skeletron, but that's a mix of scales. That's not just O-ring. So yeah. Anyway, my phone is giving me the data warning. Tells me I should probably. But it's giving me the battery warning too. So I should probably pop off soon. But I got a couple more minutes. So no, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. No worries.
Okay. Yeah. Well, just wanted to show you some of the concepts here, and you got modern military ninjas and some of the fantastic. This this guy with the forearms. As soon as I saw him, I was like, I need him. I forget his name, but it's awesome.
Oh, just call him Goro from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, right. And then you see that they did some homages to Bullet Man and Mike Power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So yeah, some cool guys. But hey, let's get to the important thing before Ken has to go.
Yeah.
Delta 17, War in the Shadows, a true blue military action figure line with a splash of the incredible. Tier 1 operatives take on samurai themes on a samurai themed leader and his army of ninja based androids and hired mercenaries. Let's talk about, and this was the one that we got to see. It was my highlight of Joe Fest, as you can see here. It is the line to me. All of the other ones are great, but this one to me feels like the most. I don't even want to compare it to GI Joe, but it is like the most GI Joe of all of them. Like I feel like this one is the successor. It's taking the mantle and going with it. And if I'm wrong in thinking that, please correct me. But here's some of the pictures of the paint masters that we saw at the booth. Ken, what do you think about this line? Do you like it at all?
I mean, other than the designer being completely a lunatic and a whack job, and all the gaudy colors, I guess it's okay.
I gotcha.
Tell you what, Will, while I wrap up here, why don't
Yeah.
you send the StreamYard link to the Delta 17, Instagram, because Steve just sent me a text message saying, should I unbox them? And I'm just going to send him back saying, look for a StreamYard link.
Yeah, if
Link
he'd
from
like
Will.
to, I would
Yard
love
link
that.
from
Yeah.
Will. What he's probably going to do, unless I'm wrong, I think he's actually got factory samples. They may or may not be carded. They are the test shots from the factory's actual tooling.
Oh wow.
And they've painted them up so that we can know what the final product will look like. So what I'll probably do is while I drive to my next appointment, I'll probably play it in the background, and Steve can probably just jump in and replace me on the stream, and he might even be able just to share cameras and show you the latest and greatest
If he
test
could.
shots. I've told him to go look for it on his camera.
I
So,
can't find. Yeah, I can't find. For some reason.
okay,
If you
know
have him
what?
readily available,
What I'll do is I'll pop off because I need to go into a different tab of my phone before my phone battery dies. I'll pop off and I will forward him the link on the Delta 17 StreamYard.
You're more than welcome to. Thank you. So much.
And you two can keep chatting about this unless you have any final questions for me.
No, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this, Ken. I really appreciate you. Everyone knows who you are. Toy Connections. Go check them out. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
well,
thank you.
keep going with your with your stream, and I'll see if Steve wants to pop on and do the reveal.
Well,
that would be
I would
amazing.
be honored. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay.
All right.
We'll be here.
All right. Stand
See
by.
you, Ken.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
Yeah, I would say Delta 17, of all the ones that we've looked at that are a part of this O-ring renaissance, as Ken's calling it, they're the most cohesive. They've got the best design. They've got the best storyline. They've got the best military gear. They have very, very good gear that is well designed, goes well with the figure, fits with what the figures are supposed to represent in the storyline. So I'm really liking this line.
When we were talking about those other things, some of those other lines check different boxes. Legendary Hidden Force has a different box. Operation Recall hits a different spot because of like the documentary and all the kind of history and lore that goes into that as well. Callsign Longbow is just 80s awesome. You know what I mean? With those, the Russian ninjas and all that stuff. It's just really cool. But like this line, for me, when I saw it, like there's not a character I don't like, but I gotta tell you, Rooster, that guy with the mohawk, you'll see him in the poster there. He just man. As soon as I saw him, I was like, he's my guy right there. Man. That's my dude. I really like him, and I really like that they did. Not everyone does good guys that have like a troop builder. So the two guys you see on the left and the right there, I think those are troop builders. And you'll forgive me, I don't remember all their names and everything, but they are awesome. Yeah.
Oops. There we go.
Oh, well, speaking of Delta 17, I mean, this is pretty great. We actually have... I didn't think you would click the link. So you just picked these up, Steve?
Hey guys.
Hi,
Howdy.
Steve. How are you?
Yeah, they just arrived today. How you guys doing?
Fantastic,
good.
man. Yeah, we were just having this,
Good.
little talk
Okay.
about the O-ring Renaissance, and Ken was kind enough to join us, and I'm really glad that you tuned in as well. And the timing couldn't be better, I'd say, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. I mean, they just showed up. They were late. They were supposed to be here at 2 o'clock, and I was like, "Come on!" So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, we were just singing the praises of Delta 17, saying of all the different O-ring offerings, your guys is the most cohesive offering, the way that you put everything together, the design, the packaging, the storyline. We're impressed. We're really impressed.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's very kind.
And that is really nice. Those card backs look fantastic. So these are
Yeah.
just samples. Maybe Steve, if we don't know how the manufacturing process goes, so this is you sent everything out, and then they sent you these back to inspect and approve, or is this final product?
No, this is not final product. This is step 2. I think there's 2 more steps to go. Like as you can see, the colors here, we don't have the red or the white on the logo, so that's a bit of a no-no. Something happened to the graphics file, but the real important stuff is the plastic. Right now, the plastic is looking good, but it's not final. Like we want our stuff to look just like a GI Joe. I mean, you take any random GI Joe, it's got that nice
Sure.
gloss to the plastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that the way that they do that, from what we've figured out, is that they polish the molds. So we have some molds partially polished, but for the most part, they haven't been finalized yet. So these ones still look a bit dull, but that will change. Let me see if I can get the light on them a bit
Yeah,
better.
because what we saw at Joe Fest were painted blanks, right? So that wasn't like the
Yeah.
final production mold. And then the difference here is that they don't have that super fine polish on the mold, so you get a little bit of a matte finish, I guess, on the figure.
Yeah, it's a bit matte right now, but the good news is that like these are all factory painted, so their spray masks are done. The tampos are done. The pad printing, I guess, is another way of saying it. So let's take a look. I haven't even opened this yet.
Yeah.
So here's a look at a dude that has a whole lot of tampo going on. It's kind of hard to. Sorry, I just kind of
How
threw
does
this
he
one.
feel? How's the weight of the character like compared to? Because like for example, I picked up some Black Major GI Joe kind of repro guys,
Yeah.
and they feel a lot lighter than a GI Joe. They're cool, and I love the colors and everything, but they don't feel as sturdy. I would say,
Yeah. Well, I'm just touching them for the first time right now. It seems good. I mean,
Yeah, it looks
you know,
good too.
I'm not gonna pull anyone's leg here because soon they'll find out for themselves, right? So
Hmm.
uh, the knees are good. They're a lot better than the first test shot.
Yeah, the fit and finish on these look really good. I imagine you've had a lot of back and forth getting all those minute details dialed in.
Oh yeah. It's quite an extensive process. So
Steve, just an observation. It looks like that character. I forget his name, so please forgive me.
that's all right.
But he's a little bulkier. His legs looked very muscular, and his arms looked very muscular, as well as his torso. Now, did you go with different molds or different tooling for that?
Yeah, well, I mean, every guy is different. We only shared molds for one guy's arms. That's it. Otherwise, every tool is unique for every figure. But yeah, this guy, we really amped him up. I told Tommy to go for it, make this guy super jacked. So his upper torso here is quite a bit wider than most, and then he added some muscle even on the outside of the arms and big
Yeah,
biceps, bigger legs.
I
That's
love it.
Um,
awesome.
That is
yeah,
great. Yeah,
well, thank
that
you.
is such a nice detail because one of the things you see is like every character, male or female, are all the exact same size and proportions. And the fact that you
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
you, you did that is such a nice attention to detail. I love the trays that the figures come in. The packaging looks great too. Oh,
oh well,
she's
thank
my that's my new crush right there.
you. Yeah, that's what our designer Tommy said too. He said when he dies, he wants someone to put one of these guys in his chest pocket. So I
She
thought
is
that was pretty
beautiful.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's. I know she's a bad
Wow.
guy, but
Yeah.
bad in such a good way. I love him.
Yeah, right, eh? But
I gotta say, it is really impressive the amount of detail that you get in the face sculpts on this small scale. With 118, a lot of them, it seems like the image of the face kind of gets washed out on other lines. But you guys have really nailed it.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate
Steve,
that.
everyone's freaking out in the chat, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Just loving these guys, and I'm kind of besides myself that you're doing this live right now with me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate, and I mean, even if me and you were just on a private call doing this, I would feel this way. But the fact that everyone else gets to see as well just
Yeah.
blows me away.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I mean, this is all new to me. This just came in the mail. I mean, it's like, holy cow. So it's pretty incredible. This is Shepard, our leader, our fearless leader. I haven't tested yet to see if they adjusted
He's
his
looking
helmet.
a little more shiny, right? Does he got the polish on him? He's looking a little more glossy.
Yeah, helmet stays on good, so that's good.
Good.
They adjusted that. So yeah, he's doing well. I see they missed one forearm tattoo, so that will be in the notes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why this is such a great and important part of the process is going through all those little things and getting everything dialed in. And this has been a labor of love for you for what now, 3-4 years since initial concept to where you are today?
Yeah, at least 3 years. So
awesome.
Yeah, good times. It's just the beginning, now that we've cracked the seal, it's time to really kick the door in. So but yeah, we hope that people enjoy them, and I want to take a look at Preacher. I want to see how they did his Camouflage Pants, and it looks really good. This is really nice.
Yeah.
Again, it's not glossy. I want that finished GI Joe look. This looks more like the O-rings from the Toys R Us exclusives from the 2000s era, where it was
the early 2000s. I remember those.
Yeah. So we'll have that changed. It'll be a nicer mid to high gloss.
You do definitely seem to see a lot of modern or at least contemporary military design with Delta 17 as well, and their accessories, their weapon, their loadout.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all supposed to be modern day. We're going to back the clock up about till, like, it hasn't been finalized just yet, but I'm thinking maybe 2015, and then come up to modern day, modern events.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's got a nice sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember at Joe Fest you were showing me the backpacks and how the weapons store on some of those backpacks. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they should all be. There's only one. I think it's with Shepard. If you put his shotgun in his hand, then you cannot stow his M4 rifle. But other than that, everything can be stored and stowed on the figures. Like, let me see if I can find the Delta Squad. Here he is. So much stuff. All right, there we go. Delta Squad, and he comes with a gas mask that you can put on and off.
Nice.
And the mask should be able to be stowed. Yeah, you just put it inside the backpack.
Brilliant, yeah.
And you put it away if you don't want it for now. So yeah, his gas mask is actually inside the backpack right at this moment. And your key is on the stairs there.
It's not on the thing.
It'll be loose on the stairs by itself. Go look on the stairs. So, yeah, he's got a bunch of stuff. I can't kit him up right now.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, no rush at all.
But yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm seeing them for the first time myself here.
I know. I'm just in awe.
What the heck? Yeah.
Now, looking at what you're seeing today, are you pretty confident that like fourth quarter of this year we'll be seeing this available for purchase, or maybe is that still tentative?
Well, the only thing that would change that is the China-Taiwan tensions. That's it. Otherwise, yes, absolutely, we will have them in port October, November. So October 13th is the scheduled tentative arrival date. But, it could be October 20th, 30th, whatever, before they process it through customs, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't paint the rivets on these. The rivets will be painted.
Oh, there he is. That's my boy right there. And it's Rooster, and nickname Eduardo. If you heard, Jim has a rooster that crows constantly as we're doing live streams.
Yeah, I hear that. It's awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to have Rooster in the layer here. That's a great figure.
Yeah, so
we'll have to have a Rooster show off. Yeah,
right, eh? The radio pack comes off, and also if you want to take the bag off of the pack as well, just for I gotta load up the bag,
Yeah,
do that. And handset comes off, and it comes with a spare antenna in case you lose your other one. Sorry about the crappy lighting. I'm not really a pro at this.
No. It looks great, and you're coming through really clear. So.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, no problem. A World Made of Cardboard's phone is dying, but he doesn't want to get off, so he was just saying in the comments, "My phone, she can't take much more. Let's reverse the polarity of the neutron flow." So
nice.
He just said, "Great looking figures. Have a great rest of the live stream." His phone is literally dying. He was holding on for dear life. World Made of Cardboard. Check it out in the replay. So we'll leave the video up there. So.
I've been hearing about him lately. He makes stuff out of cardboard or something crazy.
He's got an engineering background, and he uses that to develop paper craft for dioramas, and he's even done some robot figures that have some articulation. Kind of a mix between origami and action figure. It's neat.
Steve, if you get a chance to check him out on YouTube, he did a couple play sets for the Final Faction toy line. It was the Dollar Tree, where he did an alien and then a base. All stuff you could print out and fold up in your own time and fully integrate it with 1/18 scale figures. I think you'd like it.
Wow. I'm certain when he gets Delta 17 in his hand, that'll inspire him to come up with some other paper craft that'll be, some good diorama bits.
Okay, I'll definitely check him out. That sounds really fascinating, and I hope I didn't. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, good. I was just gonna say I hope I didn't cut into the other O-rings time, but I did not.
No, as a matter of fact, I saved Delta 17 for last because I figured, that was going to take the longest because, no surprise of all the lines, this one had stood out to me as, my obvious favorite.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. I love them all. Like when I saw Longbow and Hidden Force.
Oh my God. Wait, I'm sorry. They're compatible with the bat accessories, which is just.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you can take.
Cool. Wow.
Let's take one of Okami's sword hands and see. Yeah. So your bat can now have a sword hand. Hiya.
That is so awesome.
That's kind of cool. And then we have a gun hand. But yeah, when I saw Longbow in the flesh, and when I saw Hidden Force, I was just like, holy cow, just blown away. Lots of good color, really amazing sculpts. I'm really excited about all of the lines that I see out there. Strike Force Alpha, you've got Recall. It's then of course you got In the Navy coming up, and it's just so fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. I mean, you guys are competing with the same collectors to buy your wares, but at the same time, there's a collaborative spirit. Everybody's enjoying what they're doing. It's a labor of love, and it's a lot of fun to see how you guys are putting this stuff out there. And the camaraderie is really cool.
It is really cool.
There might be some crossover stuff in the future. We'll see. I'm not, I'll just leave it at that. I haven't had any discussions with anyone, but I have a few ideas. But the things that I'm thinking of would require big money, so we'll wait until some money comes in. So this guy, the Spetsnaz trooper, he comes with a PVC belt, just like the snow serpent. So this is my first time trying to attach it, and good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like you got a great fit.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah,
It's got one paint app on it. Le backpack.
Nice.
For the muffins or whatever the heck he takes. I don't know. And the Attilan helmet. Attilan, I don't know.
Yeah, I like that style though. It really looks cool. The visor is perfect.
Yeah, the face shield gives it a really unique look.
Yeah, he comes with two. One where you can see through it, and the other one is a red. If you want a bit of pop of color to be like the other Dark Shadows Retrograde troopers. But he'll be, people have to decide for themselves if this guy would fit in good with October Guard, because he's a little bit more modern, but he still has that classic Russian look. They've been rocking this Spetsnaz look for, I don't know, about 12 or 15 years. So
yeah, if it works, why fix it, right?
Yeah,
they just keep using it. Very practical.
Yeah, it's the basic Bars Gorka suit. We didn't really modify it too much other than adding, diagonal pouches and then pop of color and some other stuff. So we're going to have some guys as time goes by that's like, well, that's just a regular Army Ranger. It's like, yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you want, though.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Troop builders are great. And I think, the good guys always get overlooked with the troop builders. They don't have as
Yeah, well, our troop builder, I hope people like him. He's a bit unusual. He's got a full sort of high tech helmet on. Well, I mean, his mouth sticks out, but you can cover that up with the gas mask that went missing. Oh yeah, it's in his pack.
Backpack, right?
Stored away in his pack. It's like, where's my glasses? They're on your face. Oh yeah. All right, so I'm thinking this is going to be a bit tricky to do on TV, but we're not on TV. We're on YouTube.
Even better.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as color palette, I like the fact that it's still real world military, but like you say, there are some pops of color that really, give it some shelf bling, if you will. It looks good. And they look like an integrated unit together. When you put the adversaries together with your heroes, who belongs to what team. And
the only odd guy out is, of course, is this guy, right? But that's just because he's so salty, he doesn't give a crap anymore.
That's what I was gonna say. He just doesn't give a shit, right? So he's just
I actually wanted to sculpt him with a pair of Crocs on.
Nice.
And his name was supposed to be Lawn Dart, but I got voted down pretty hard. So I just thought, well, I'll play it safe. So Wave 2 will have a Lawn Dart in it for sure. It'll be his best friend. So
he's definitely got that salty operator vibe. He's like, I'm here to kick ass and chew some bubble gum and all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And he's all out of bubble gum, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
So
the stands seem to work really well too.
Yeah, they work good, and they work for G.I. Joe as well. At least that's what we've been told. Let's find out, because I know we had to make an adjustment. Let's take Footloose, the loose foot. Oh, no, there's something wrong there. You didn't see that. Everyone look away. Okay.
A little loose.
Might be a little tweaking to do, but hey, stands are always welcome. Especially with some of these.
That's why it's called Footloose, though.
That's right.
Okay, now we get it. Yes, so the stands currently are a little bit different. We went back and forth on that. Looks like we'll have to do another round of adjustments. So, If you guys are bored, just talk amongst
No,
yourselves.
no. I'm just sitting here, just watching and enjoying the moment. So
No.
take your time. No need to. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That's great.
This guy's got the tiger stripes, but he's called Jaguar. I was like, someone's gonna beef on me at some point.
I think it looks awesome, though. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I love how. Yeah, I love the rifle coming out of the back of the backpack. That's just looks fantastic.
Yeah, and his other gun has holes on it too. So if you want to swap them out and then stow the Chris Vector, you can stow the Chris Vector as well while you're using this. But again, the rivets will be painted. They'll be a bit shinier. They'll be a bit tighter. There'll be a bunch of adjustments needed as we go through. Again, this is the first time I'm seeing these, so
yeah. And once again, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing that with us. Oh, is that is a cloth cape on him? That looks great.
Yeah, if I can get it through here without wrecking it, good. Yeah, done. So this is Shadow Dragon, our enemy leader. He has a bad attitude. Yeah, so he's covered in a whole bunch of armor. We had to sculpt these as extra pieces and glue them on. His front and rear shoulder armors. Front is glued on. The back is apparently supposed to be take offable. I don't know what we decided. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Nice.
Wow. Yes, very nice.
Take it off and just be like, I don't want no cape. It's an informal evening.
There you go.
Yeah, so you can still
And that's a really great way to do a cape as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's got a little wire at the bottom so you can pose it.
Oh, what?
And we did our best. It took a while to get the swords at just the right sort of angles. I wanted them almost touching tips.
Right.
So we got that.
And the biggest thing with any line is having an iconic silhouette for your main villain. This guy has got that going in spades. He's got a great look to him, and he's gonna, you're gonna see him on the shelf and know, okay, yeah, he's the main baddie. There's no question.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just a little nervous about how the horns are going to do for breakability, durability, because that is just straight ABS, like the rest of his body parts. We didn't go with PVC for his face, and that was a bit of an oversight. So we'll see how that does. I try breaking one. No.
It seemed to be pretty durable.
Yeah.
It's not bad. There's some flex in there. Yeah, it's not bad.
That's not bad. Not bad at all. And there was a question earlier in the chat that Ken attempted to talk about, which was the O-rings and their inevitable demise.
Right.
O-rings are not forever. Were there any improvements to the material used, or are these still just rubber that will deteriorate over time? He did mention the locking function that these do, where when you are changing the O-ring, it'll be a little easier.
Well, the arm sockets lock in, but the heads do not. You'll still have to put your thumb on the head, the neck ball. No, they're just regular rubber. I was inquiring about silicone. I was like, apparently silicone is better and longer lasting. And my factory manager is just like, no. So, he could be right, he could be wrong, but he just went with, nah, don't worry about it. It's not going to improve anything. So, replacing an O-ring once every 10 years. I mean,
Yeah. I've got figures way older than that are still intact and have a good O-ring. So, it really is hard to tell when they're going to go. But
with the Delta 17 construction, you'll still have a central screw in the back. You'll be able to pull that open and replace the O-ring without too much skull sweat.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be a problem. And they painted the dog. The dog looks pretty cool.
Gotta have a dog.
Yeah, this one's just going to be sitting down. He won't be attacking anyone, unfortunately. But let's see. The fit is a little bit off on the dog. Yeah, a little bit off. We'll get that adjusted.
the animal companion is definitely a great thing that a lot of these classic lines have always managed to find a way to put in there somewhere.
Yeah, we won't be doing too many, but I'm thinking that as time goes by, we'll see the dog grow up and become its own man dog thing.
Yeah, that's pretty great though. Look at that. He's just perched up there on the backpack.
Yeah.
It looks great. Yeah.
You can flip him around to look the other way when he's in a bad mood.
Yeah. Nothing else. He's the unit mascot. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, Steve, these look amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
And Ken mentioned it earlier. Not to knock any of those other lines because they're all fun and they're all great and everything. But
Yeah,
one of the really wonderful things about Delta 17 is, Ken was saying you had to kind of sit there tight-lipped and not talk about them because a lot of toy lines, like I said, they announce them, they talk about them, there's all this hype for them, and then you find out you have to wait 24 or 2 or even 3 years in some cases to see the toys.
Yeah.
We're finding out about them, and we're seeing them within the next 6 months. It's going to just be, what is that, just 3 or 4 months away, right?
Yeah, it's what, October?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I refuse to do
About
math.
4 or 5 months.
Anything math related, it's like, nope.
No thanks. So,
Yeah.
Earlier we talked about what it was about O-Ring, that makes us want more of it, and what is it about it that makes people like you, Steve, create a line like this? Now, was it for lack of other, the big toy companies producing stuff like this, so you wanted to see it be made again, or you had this story in your mind and you chose this vehicle to put it out?
I don't know, all the above. I mean, I would like to be able to pay my hydro bills without being like, holy crap, it's hydro bill time. that's one thing.
Sure.
I've been making all sorts of stuff. I've got about 3 feet stacked full of paper of different things that I've made over time that just has not gotten anywhere, which is fine because now the doors are opening. Hopefully we can go from one thing to another. There will be a girls' toy line coming hopefully in 2 or 3 years.
Cool.
Oh, very
that will be a lot bigger than, well, whatever. I'll just shut up. I don't want to be, it's so great. Yeah, we're so awesome, man, Anyway.
No.
But I don't know. It's everything. O-rings are, I mean, what we have when we go to a store, everything's modern figures, modern, which is cool. I love them, right? I'm very excited to buy them all. Well, not all, but I think the world needs another family of toys, and the way that this O-ring style, there's something to it that when kids come over here to visit me and they see the big wall of O-rings that I have behind me here, I started cleaning a lot of them up because we're getting ready to move.
Oh,
but
wow. Yeah.
It kind of goes up. I think that's the end of it. I put about half of them away, so. And kids are fascinated by this. It's totally it's something new. It's like bringing the Rubik's Cube out again instead of an iPad, and just sort of, who was talking about it? I can't remember if it was you guys or who it was. I've been watching a handful of videos lately, and I'm starting to forget. But someone was saying something about the O-rings. Oh yeah, it was on his tank. Somebody was mentioning. I wish I could remember his name. Made a really great point. He said that O-rings, it's not super duper detailed, and you can sort of insert yourself into the character. And that made me think of Tintin. The Tintin books?
Yeah.
And with Tintin, all of the other characters, whether it was Professor Calculus or Captain Haddock or all those guys, they had very distinctive, hard features. But Tintin had an open face, and you could kind of insert yourself into that open face, that open look. And with O-ring, there's almost an element to all of these figures, even if they're very specific, like whatever, that's a robot, you're not a robot, and this guy's got really distinctive paint and etc. there's still an element of where you can kind of insert yourself into them. And yeah, I shouldn't go on and on.
No, it's a good point. I've recently been going back and getting into the 1/6 scale, the original Joes, just out of
Nice.
nostalgia from when I was collecting Adventure Team as a kid. And there
Yeah.
is that everyman quality. Joe was Joe, and
Yeah.
anybody could jump in that Joe uniform and have an adventure. And when Real American Hero came out, like you say, there was some of the characters you could, kind of definitely see yourself in.
Right,
And,
right.
there's definitely something to be said for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so much fun.
And I think one of our other friends, it's Chad. He really nailed it. He's a big 1/18 scale fan. It's
Yeah.
world building. World building in 1/18 scale makes more sense than any other scale. If you
Oh,
want vehicles,
absolutely.
you want play sets. This is the scale to do it.
Yeah, unless we all move to the Arctic, then we won't have. It's all about real estate, really, and how big your house can be. So,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the Dragonfly, and I ordered the Hiss tank and all that stuff. But it's like, holy cow, these things are huge, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the ultimate kind of miniature without being too miniature.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I think it's the perfect scale. I can't think of a better scale.
And I think it does all those things well. So they're articulated, but they're not over articulated. They're articulated for play. I think they articulate enough to play with them well and
Yeah.
to fit them into vehicles and play sets very well. Accessories wise, they work. Yeah, if you're into toy photography and you want ultra realistic, I guess the 6-inch scale does have more detail and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
for me, this has always been the scale and the style that has always kind of lived in my heart. Every time I see them, I just want to pick them up and play with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know what it is. There's something about 1/18 O-ring that's just incredible. And like I said before, when I show it to modern kids, they're like, holy cow, because it's just something different. They love. So I think the world is somewhat ready. There's a chance at getting into stores and all that stuff if we do it right, if we make an effort, and kids they'll have another option. It's like, well, you can get your hyper realistic Spider-Man, or you can get your 1/12 Snake Eyes, and you can get the smaller O-rings, and I think they'll be excited about all of them. It's just one more option. So
Yeah,
And that is something that a lot of the 1/12 scale adult collector oriented stuff seems to be missing. It's like, if you don't make a scale and a design that appeals to kids so that you can play with your kids instead of just putting on the shelf and say, don't touch, then you're missing the point. There's got to be playability. And Delta 17's definitely got that.
Yeah, well, we hope so. We hope to. The end goal is to get these things into the hands of kids again. Get them in the ditch, get them in the mud.
Yeah.
What was better than the Vamp or the Ostriker? Like everyone's Ostriker is shot. When you go out and you buy lots, they're all destroyed, right? Because the kids play the crap out of it.
Absolutely, man. And do you remember the boats really floated? So when you saw in the box, it floats. I mean, what was the first thing you did? You threw
You
that
take it out to the creek. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly. It's like, Dad, can we have a pool?
So one of the things that I was talking about, I don't want to take you off cam, but I had this little slideshow and we got to the end and while I have you here, because Steve, I know you mentioned to me, and if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine too, but the possibility of vehicles, right, in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aside from vehicles, if you could see this on the screen, I brought up was, so I know a lot of these are smaller companies and these are smaller production runs, but if people started with some of these, do you remember the Checkpoint Alpha, the Watchtower Battle Station, the Bivouac, the Cobra Bunker? These smaller types of mini play sets, I think, would be a really great addition to the line. They're a little easier to do than a vehicle, and not as big or complex as a big play set. And I don't know about you guys, but as a kid, some of these mini playsets were, well, they're a lot easier to manage, to set up, to play with, and then to put
Right.
away than some of the bigger sets. So,
Well, and as a kid, if you had a little bit of pocket money from mowing lawns or what have you, you could pick up one of these mini play sets. You couldn't afford, a G.I. Joe headquarters, but you could afford a bunker or a bivouac.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were amazing. For now, our focus is on figures, and then the vehicles. We want to do at least one vehicle for Wave 2. I would love to do 2, but we'll see about that. It all depends on what kind of money comes in and how we're expanding the market. And like I ordered a lot of these guys in, and that's so that we can have a lot of overlap as people get into Wave 2 and Wave 3. Wave 1 will still be available, and Wave 1 will be available for quite a while because we want to get into new markets. We want to get stuff out to kids. It's going to be a slower process. It's not like when I was a kid when there was only 3 channels on the TV.
Yeah.
And so it's harder to get exposure at some points.
Right.
Yeah,
You're going to have a lot of Johnny-come-latelys as soon as people find out about the line and really get excited. They're going to want to go back and pick up everything they missed. So that makes sense.
One thing I wanted to ask was, I know there was Ian Sweeney in the chat. He's overseas. I think he's in England, right? Or the UK. And he wanted to know if there would be international shipping options available for this.
Yeah, I hope so. That's definitely the goal. We have to figure out what the heck this VAT thing is, this whole VAT. I know that can make stuff very difficult, but I managed to find some online stores in England, so I want to reach out to them in the very, very near future, because it'd be easier to just do a bulk thing and just say, go here, right?
Yeah, just have a distributor over there that you can ship right to. Yeah, because Ian said, with a lot of these lines, he likes them, he supports them, but none of them have any love for the people across the pond. So that's really cool that you're considering that.
Yeah, we'd like to see this stuff in Australia and in Europe and different places like that. So it's all about over time growing the market. I mean, we want to get. I love the collector's market, but we want to reach past that. I want to see stuff in the hands of kids again. I want kids' lives to be different than what they are currently, more similar to our lives. I mean, we had pretty cool childhood.
We did. I think we had the best. When I talk to younger coworkers or even my own kids, sometimes their jaws drop when I tell them about the stuff that we did and how much fun we had.
If you can find a way to get kids away from their phone screens for more than half an hour, you've succeeded.
Yeah. Like every now and then I tell my kids, some of our stories, like high-speed bowling and different things like that we used to do. Like basically what you do is you take a 10-pound bowling ball and you line up pins about a mile away and you strap a guy into the car. If it's a Jeep, you can take the door off.
Sure.
Get it up to about 120 kilometers an hour, and you just let it go. And we didn't hit the pins very often, but it was a real hoot.
If nothing else, it's a good physics lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, I think it's good for the brain because we always had to invent ways to have fun, and some of them were ill-conceived. Some of them, if we would tell our younger selves, don't even think about doing that. But you know what? We had to get it creative. Now everything's kind of just pipelined right into your eyeballs from your phone.
Yeah.
And you don't have that creativity. You don't have that spark of imagination to come up with something fun to do.
Yeah. We got to switch back to the analog life or whatever they call it. It's just so important. That's what develops all your freaking neurons and everything like that, as opposed to press this button and the character will jump and talk for you and all of that stuff.
All right, well, Steve, thank you so much, man. I don't want to keep you. I really got to say I'm so honored and absolutely blown away that you were able to open up these these production samples right here live with us. And I know that you just got them in hand too, so you didn't even get a chance to, kind of look them over before you showed them. So I gotta
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
I really, really, really appreciate that.
We
But I don't want
yeah
to.
we,
I don't want to keep you all night. I know you want to get on with your day as well.
Nope.
So if you got to go somewhere, it's more than fine.
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah
I'm good. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm fine, man. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, I literally just got these. Literally just opened the box, and
Yeah.
so you saw a couple of flaws that you will not remember tomorrow. And
Nope, I won't. Because for
yeah,
we're
me, they look awesome. Everything looks
yeah
great. You're the
yeah,
work in
just
creator,
progress.
and you're the one
yeah.
with the eye for the details. So you're seeing any of the flaws or things that are different.
Well, the figure stands not fitting GI Joe is bit of a bummer, but we'll have to arrange it. We'll have to adjust that. And yeah, otherwise everything's fine. But yes, vehicles for Wave 2. There's going to be something in Wave 1.5 that I think everyone will like. You'll see it in the comic. And play sets, I would love to do it. I just want to do it. We're going to wait till something really pops out at us as being like, new, groundbreaking, brilliant. So we've got all sorts of stuff drawn up, but it's like, yeah, it's cool. It's good, you know. Um, I don't know. We'll see what is developed as we go.
Well, the concept, the way everything's coming together, the storyline from what we've heard from Ken, everything looks excellent. And of course, these are always backwards compatible with any of your classic Joe or other type vehicles that you've seen and enjoyed. So everything's looking great, and to where this is headed in the future.
Oh yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's just an honor and a privilege to, it was so fun going to Joe Fest and meeting all the people there, and it's like, holy cow, I wish these people were my next door neighbors. They're just the nicest, you know. And then
Yeah.
everyone has to go home, 4,000 miles this way, 2,000 miles that way, and it's like, oh, what a bummer, like seriously, let's all move to some commune,
Yeah.
and
Right.
we'll have a big mud pit in the middle where we all play with our Joes and whatever.
Yeah. Steve, I
Yeah, a lot
said,
of folks are looking to extend their Joe Fest experience by a couple days, front and back, just to have more time to hang out with people.
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be cool.
A couple of years ago, I went to Joe Fest, and there was this guy that hosted a small church somewhere in Georgia. In the
Yeah.
back lot there, some guy made kind of recreations of famous buildings out of stones and
Wow.
mortar. And there's some pictures of that on my Instagram, but it actually scales very well with GI Joe. Not that the guy really meant to do it, but this guy
Yeah.
asked, and they let him go there with all his Joe vehicles and figures. I only brought
Nice.
a handful, but I made the
Yeah.
trek. It was about an hour out of the way, but I had to go
Wow.
there and see the place, And I always told my wife if we could buy some land, I'd love to build something like that, like a miniature
Yeah.
city
Yeah.
or just a battleground, and have people
Yeah.
come over with their collections and set them up. Because that stuff is weatherproof. It was made out of I guess he used mortar and pebbles basically to
Yeah.
stack up
Yeah.
and make these things. But I would love to have something like that. But it would have to be a property I know I'm going to own for the rest of my life. And
Yeah. No kidding, eh? Right? Wow.
yeah, but
That'd
I
be
always
cool.
said that would be so great and just have this giant, Thunderdome right in the middle of it, inviting people over, and just have
Yeah. Yeah.
just have at it, Or I've seen people do the G scale train tracks in their backyard, which
Yeah. Right.
is the closest to 118 you could get. But I would love to have something like that. That would be so cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But
Nice.
yeah, thanks again, Steve. We'll definitely keep tabs, and we'll keep bugging Ken to give us updates as things
Okay.
progress. So
Yeah. Right on. Well, thanks, guys. It was awesome talking to you.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. I love everything I saw, and I'm sure that with your attention to detail, the final product's gonna just knock our socks off. So thank you so much for that. Now, does anyone in the chat have any questions for Steve while he's still here, or feel free to do that. Steve, I only had a couple extra slides here that I just wanted to talk about mini playsets and how I would
Yeah.
love to see those come back, and I understand, that it's a deviation from figures. But a lot of people do dioramas and stuff like that, and those are nice. But these were always like production pieces. They're durable. They're made well, and I brought this one up as a joke. It's the Coastal Defender.
Okay,
This
good.
was
Good.
this one was kind of it's kind of like a crate on a trailer, and then popped out.
Yeah.
There's just a guy sitting in there. But I will tell you, even though this one gets knocked down a bunch, I did have it as a kid, and any attachment that you could fit onto like the tow hook on the vamp was always welcome. But yeah, this one was kind of ridiculous because it's just it's a giant. Hey, don't mind this crate, and then it pops down and missiles. But I was going to say, in the meantime, you go on Amazon and there's that company Click and Play or Sunny Days Entertainment, and they've got a lot of 1/18 scale compatible little play sets and stuff like that. So if Hasbro or the big companies or even some of these smaller companies coming up, that little watchtower there, that's anyone could use that with any line. They've got just barricades and little walls and vehicles, and these are all really very affordable. That helicopter looks really nice for $26. You can't beat that.
Yeah, I have that. It's very similar to the Little Bird, and it's got a great design to it. I've got a Wild Bill sitting in mine, but yeah,
nice.
Having something like Delta 17 where you've got really great figures would definitely be enhanced by something like this, because the figures that come with those vehicles are they're just kind of afterthoughts.
Yeah,
they
are. They're very poorly made. A lot of them, the weapons aren't even the same scale, or the weapons don't even go in their hands and things like that. But if you take the pieces, they work with that. As more information from Delta 17 comes out, and I know more about the story, I don't know if you know this, but one of the things surprise I got at the Joe Fest was a G.I. Joe headquarters, the 1992 one. And, So I told Ken that as I found out a little more about the story, I was thinking this could be a nice Delta 17 custom I could do, because it needs a lot of parts and replacements. So I know Delta 17 doesn't. I don't know if they would really have a base. I mean, they got to operate out of somewhere, but it is a war in the shadows. They are kind of, operating under the radar. So whatever they had, it would have to be kind of covert. So as I find out more about the story, I would think of, and inform myself on making that base custom to accommodate it.
Right. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, we're not. We haven't been decided on a lot of those things. Are they going to have a base and different things like that? I don't know. It's so early right now. We want them to be mobile, tactical, etc. Strike force that hits where they have to hit. So it's hard. It is
harder to hit a moving target. So a good troop transport wouldn't go amiss.
Yeah. There's some things in the pipe, but we'll talk about that at a different day.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Well, I mean, the Oring Renaissance and, the champions of the Oring Renaissance, Delta 17. I think they're all kind of, they're all great in their own way. But, for me, this is the line I'm looking forward to most. So, Steve, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about this. It was just really good timing, because I really had no idea until Ken mentioned it. And then when he said he was going to send you the link, I never thought you'd actually come on and do it. So I'm absolutely honored. Jim, Largo, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone in chat, thank you for checking this out today and joining the discussion. But with that, we've got to sign off, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See ya.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.